It's official. Less than a week after Coach Peterson left for the University of Washington, Boise State has hired the hometown kid. Bryan Harsin will be the next head coach for the Broncos. We're going straight to the big story with today's 6 on Your Side. Bryan Harsin bleeds blue and will be back, according to Boise State. The school announcing today that Harsin will leave Arkansas State University after only 1 year. Jay Bates joins us now with a reintroduction to the Broncos' new coach.
It took less than a week for Boise State to find their man. Bryan Harsin left Boise in 2010 with an eye on getting some experience outside the Bronco family to work toward becoming a head coach. Last year, Harsin got his shot at Arkansas State. A former player and assistant at Boise State, Harsin is the classic hometown kid returning to coach the hometown team. Widely expected to be the heir apparent if Coach Pete ever left, Harsin now gets his chance to take over the program. To say Coach Harsin has ties to the program would be a bit of an understatement. A quarterback at Capitol High School, Harsin was recruited by Pokey Allen, was a backup quarterback behind people like Tony Hildy, Nate Sparks, and Bart Hendricks. In 2001, he joined Dan Hawkins' staff as a graduate assistant and was promoted to tight ends coach in 2002. In 2006, Chris Peterson made him offensive coordinator, and after a pair of undefeated seasons and some great offenses with Kellen Moore, he left to be the quarterback's coach and co-offensive coordinator with Texas. Almost a year to the day, Harsin accepted the Arkansas State job and led the Red Wolves to a 7-5 record and a share of the Sun Belt Conference Championship. Harsin became a well-known name, thanks in part to 3 plays that stunned the college football world.
I mean, Pete knew at this time that, we needed to go for it. This last play here, the statue play, was one that we were trying to get the whole fourth quarter, really. And this is a play that these guys have worked on quite a bit. They were going to be excited about it. They liked the play. Everybody was into it, and we felt like we'd get the look over here on this side, which is most important, that we could get it in.
I actually talked with Coach Harsin's father, Dale, today, and he says it has been a crazy 24 hours. Even yesterday, he was following along with the rumors on the internet, just like the rest of us. Boise State tentatively alerted us to a press conference today, but that has since been canceled so they can get everybody together on campus. Reaction today from the students was positive.
I think a lot of the students I've talked to are excited about it because he's been here and he knows what's going on and he knows the system. So I'm excited about it. I'm glad they made that hire.
This was not an easy move for Boise State. It will cost the school $1.75 million due in the next 10 days to buy out Bryan Harsin's contract. Coach Peterson's buyout was $750,000, so that's going to help offset things, but it still leaves a $1 million buyout. Arkansas State is now in its 4th head coach in the past 4 years, and the past 40 games, including bowl games, they've had 7 head coaches. Earlier, I talked with Brian Murphy on what bringing Harsin back to Boise means for the program. Brian Murphy joins us now with the big news. Bryan Harsin will be the new head coach at Boise State University. Brian, let's start with, what does this do for the future of the Broncos program?
Well, I think it was the safest pick. I mean, I think if you started at the beginning of this process and said who's the most likely guy to replace Chris Peterson, I think Bryan Harsin would have been atop that list. So there's some definite continuity there. Talking to former players, you get the sense that Bryan Harsin is very much in the Chris Peterson mold. And so I think the most seamless transition is going to be from Chris Peterson to Bryan Harsin. Does that mean that Boise State is going to continue to win, 10 games a year and continue to win conference titles? I'm not sure any of us can predict that.
Traditionally, Boise State likes to hire within the family, but Mark Coyle is kind of the wild card there. How important was it to find someone with Boise State ties?
We haven't gotten a chance to talk to Coyle or to school president Bob Custer, but it sounds like, at least from the quotes that they've released, that it was very important that they found somebody who fits the unique culture of Boise State. I think that was the exact phrasing of Dr. Custer's comments. It sounds like it was very important to them, and when you think about some of the names that they talked to, Dirk Cutter, Justin Wilcox, all of them sort of had ties to the Chris Peterson era, whether it was as Chris Peterson was head coach or when Chris Peterson got hired.
There was definitely a personality difference between Cutter to Hawkins to Peterson. How much will change at Boise State now with Bryan Harsin?
I think, if anything, Bryan Harsin might be a little more open than Chris Peterson. He tweets, something Chris Peterson would never do. He allows his players to tweet. I don't know if that will continue here at Boise State, but you get the sense that while he's like Chris Peterson in a lot of ways, he is 12 years younger than Chris Peterson, so it may be a little bit more open and a little bit different in that way.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for joining us on a really busy day.
Thanks, Jay.